We have decided to do something that's never been done in British political history. We are now conducting the largest private leaflet drop in political history. 1 million leaflets will be hitting homes in London over the next 10 days. They will be talking about my ideas as your next mayor of London. They will outline my plans to get London back to work, to build affordable housing, to stop knife crime, and to fix our bankrupt transportation system. We have the best ideas out there and we represent change, and that's got to be our priority in the upcoming months. This is a statement that democracy must continue. And a lot of people have said, Brian, what's this going to cost you? And you know what? I don't think you can put a price on democracy. I just don't. I think you have to move forward, and we're making a stand here and saying, okay, you want to try to tie our hands behind our back and make us play by your rules because our ideas threaten you? Guess what? We are going to find a solution. And that's what I do every day as a businessman. I find solutions to problems, I hold people accountable, and I get things done. And if the wrong person is in charge, we are facing one of the worst years on record. We already seen the current mayor of London wants to raise your taxes during the worst recession in 300 years. Again, I took economics at MIT. It doesn't take an MIT degree to know that you don't raise taxes when you're trying to get the economy to recover. We have to have a business person in charge. I have the CV to make London the center of the world, to rebuild London and get London back to work, and I can't wait for the chance to do it. Come May 6th, I believe we will throw a devastating knockout blow to the current mayor of London, and we're going to move into City Hall, and we are going to make London the center of the world. Just watch. This is going to happen.
One, two, three. Listen.
Welcome to the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus. Welcome to Battle Bus Live. I am Brian Rose, and we are live here on the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus. Today, we are touring the boroughs of Westminster, of Hammersmith and Fulham, of Ealing, and we're going all the way out to Hounslow as well to see our friends out there. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching me right now, make sure you like this video, leave me a comment below and say hi, and ask me a question, because I'm going to be reading out your questions live right here from my device and answering them. So again, ask me hard questions as well. That's why I'm here. This is a new way of doing politics and leadership where we always have conversations digitally and transparently, and we're going to take this all the way to City Hall on May 6th. We will become the next mayor of London. I need your vote. I need your support. I need you as a volunteer, and I'll talk more about this today. But today, what I really want to talk about, first of all, it's a beautiful sunny day here in London. Spring is coming. We're heading down here. We're on Brompton Road, going down here in through South Ken, and we're going to head out from there. So it's great to see everybody out. I see so many people, in the streets, and we're seeing a potential way out of this lockdown. But I'm here today to talk about how it's not enough. We have to proactively get London back to work and rebuild this city. And it takes a business person to know how we can maximize what I see as an incredible opportunity. It's an opportunity to take London to the next level and make London the center of the world. You heard me right. I want to make London the center of the world. I want this to be the #1 destination for anyone traveling to Europe, first of all, but anyone traveling anywhere. I want them to think, I'm coming to London. They've got it together. They've got their protocols in place. They are pro-business. They are pro-tourist. They're finding solutions. And that's what I want to talk about today. What I don't want us to do is to have 3 more years of what we just experienced, which means the economy, worst recession in 300 years, knife crime, all-time highs, our transport sector is going bankrupt, and our houses aren't being built. You can have 3 more years of this, or on May 6th, you can vote for an independent voice and independent leadership. I know how to get London back to work. The current mayor of London, he's just raised council taxes by 10%. That's his solution to kickstarting the economy. And I want to be asking you later, do you think it's fair to tax the citizens in the worst recession in 300 years as opposed to investing in the economy and promoting tourism. So I want to find out from you today. There was a recent quote by the CEO of the new West End company that said, "Left to market forces alone, the West End will recover, but not for many years, and not before irreparable damage will have been done to Britain's global reputation," unquote. That's a serious quote from someone who understands business. Under the current mayor of London, we can expect more mediocrity, more fear, more blame on the national government. What we need is a business person in charge who can take charge and be proactive about London's solutions. So that's what I want to talk about today. I'll be talking about the roadmap out of lockdown and how it's incomplete, what we've just seen outlined by the Prime Minister on Monday. Second, I'll be talking about the devastation we are trying to rebuild from. I'm going to be talking about specific sectors. Maybe you're employed by one. I'm talking retail, hospitality. I want to talk about the theaters, and I also want to talk about Heathrow Airport that really is in charge of a lot of employment and also a big chunk of the economy here in London. And finally, I want to share with you how I plan to rebuild London as a business and the proactive steps we're going to take to ensure that we lead the world when it comes to recovery. And I'm super excited to share this with you as well. We want to make London the center of the world, and we have a plan to do it and do it in a super proactive way. And today I'm going to be announcing a very exciting piece of information about my congestion charge holiday and my business rates holiday, and I'll be sharing that with you later. So got some questions for you. I really want your answers. Before we do that, I want to say thank you to the boroughs that are hosting us today, and that also those boroughs are keeping us on the road and not being pulled over and fined. And I'll tell you about that story later. We're going through Westminster here, which is the home of West End, London's major shopping networks, Oxford Street, Bond Street, and more. We're going to also be going out to Hounslow, which is the home of the London Museum of Water and Steam, of course, Twickenham Stadium, and it's right next to Heathrow Airport. I was out there a couple weeks ago as well at a charity drop, speaking with my good friend Muhammad and giving him some food for his people, and that was very exciting. Next, we're going to go to Ealing, which is the home of Ealing Studios for film and television production. That's where they make Downton Abbey, they make Shaun of the Dead, and also it's where I went to film school, which was the precursor of London Real. So big shout out to Ealing. Also, I want to thank Mark from Ealing, who I spoke to a couple weeks ago, who came up to me on the street. Of course, we were socially distanced, and he was livid with the mayor's poor performance on low traffic neighborhoods and the bollards that were being placed in his neighborhoods that stopped him from visiting his family, that fined him from seeing his grandparents, that were devastating businesses, increasing emissions and increasing traffic. And no one was listening to Mark, but I listened. And I'll be posting some video of that. And Mark, I appreciate you very much. Lastly, we're going through Hammersmith, home of the Hammersmith Odeon, which hosted such epic gigs that were played by Black Sabbath, Queen, and of course, David Bowie doing his legendary gig there, The Death of Ziggy Stardust. So let's kick it off today. I want to hear from you. Now, this is your show. I want to turn it over to you and answer these questions for me. First of all, what borough do you live in if you're in London? Otherwise, tell me what city you live in. What is your biggest challenge you're currently facing, and what question would you like to ask me? Second, tell me, how have you been financially impacted by the pandemic? Tell me, have you lost your job? Have you lost your business? And are you confident that this new plan by the Prime Minister is going to solve all of our problems and everything's going to be okay again? Be honest about that. Third, the current mayor of London just announced a 10% increase in council tax rates during the worst recession in 300 years. I want to ask you a question. Do you think that's fair to the citizens of London? And secondly, do you think that is going to kickstart our economy? And again, be honest about that. Fourth, do you think that an independent candidate such as myself should be banned for campaigning by the current mayor of London? Because that's what's happened in the past few weeks. Tell me, and I'll tell you more about that story shortly. And finally, do you think we need new leadership? Do you think we need new ideas in this city? Do you think we must take London in a new direction? Tell me. I'll be reading your comments out, as many as I possibly can today. And I'm super excited to hear from people all around the world. So a quick update on what's happening with us. By the way, this is the digital battle bus. It's actually not a bus. It's a fully functional television broadcasting studio. We can stream out literally to billions of people from the back of this bus. And I'm going through the boroughs, and I can literally see what's happening on the ground as I go through each borough. I see boarded up pubs. I see restaurants with broken windows that haven't been open for months. I see people's expressions on their faces, and I can get a real good feel for what's happening in every single borough of this city. We've covered over 2,600 miles on this bus in over a month. Yes, you heard me right. 2,600 miles. That's enough distance for me to go from here to Scotland, to Wales, back to Scotland, back to London. But we did it all in the boroughs of this city. I've been to every single one of the 32 boroughs in London twice. We're now going on our third time. And I really do understand London in such a different way because I've been out here with you and also having a conversation with you digitally at the same time. And I appreciate everybody who's left comments. We've had tens of thousands of interactions with all of our supporters, and we're so proud of that. Also, our website, brianformayor.london, has had 4.3 million views. Incredible. 62% of those are from the greater London area, and the rest of it comes from people around the world that think our ideas for London are the solution to their city as well. And we really appreciate that. Those people have shared our site over 1 million times. That's an incredible statistic. To actually have someone share your ideas means they believe in you and they want other people to hear the truth. And we appreciate that so much. We've also served up 1.2 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B. Content views of all of our different pieces of video and picture assets talking about my 12 detailed policies for London. And we're just super excited. We couldn't be any happier. We are currently now in second place, according to all of the major bookmakers in the world, to be your next mayor of London, soon to be moving into first place. I think they got it wrong, but they're not used to an independent candidate. They're not used to independent voices. And every single person I speak to on the street says, Brian, get rid of this guy. It's time for you to get in there and put these ideas out there. We're sick and tired of the lies. We're sick and tired of him blaming other people. We're sick and tired of the knife crime. We're sick and tired of the bankrupt transportation network. We're sick and tired of these congestion charges being raised and extended. We're sick and tired of these low traffic neighborhoods coming to our city. And we're sick and tired of a lack of affordable housing. Brian, please get London back to work. Make London the center of the world. We are behind you 100%. That's what I hear from everyone in the streets. It could be teenagers up to grandmothers, people from all different walks of life, people from different countries. They all tell the same thing to me. And that's why I know on May 6th, we are going to create the biggest upset in political history. And we're going to be the next mayor of London. But let me be clear, this will not be easy. We've got 69 days left. We're going to need every single one of you to help support us. I'm going to need your vote. I'm going to need you to come to brianformayor.london/volunteer and volunteer for me. And you can volunteer anywhere around the world. I got volunteers in Budapest. I got volunteers in Bangladesh. And I got volunteers in Brazil. And I kid you not, they're out there right now sharing the message, and I could use you too as well. So this will be a fight. We're going up against the Labour Party, which is a massive party with hundreds of years of history, with tens of millions of pounds and corporate donations and, strange agendas. They are ready to fight, and we threaten everything that they hold dear because we have the best ideas out there and we represent change. We're going to need your vote, and so let's make sure this happens. Again, a little bit of background on the bus. About just under a month ago, it was our third day on the bus. I was actually walking down the center of the streets right near London Bridge. It had just started to snow. I think London's first snow in about 2 years. And I had a Brian for Mayor umbrella in one hand, and I had my phone in the other. I was recording a video speaking to you, and I was surrounded by 10 City of London police officers that approached in 5 police vans, and they stopped me, they detained me, they fined me and 4 members of my team, and they banned me for campaigning for mayor. I was shocked. I couldn't believe this could happen in what we thought was a democracy. I told them this felt very political. They said, it's true, we have been watching you for 3 days. We've been to your website, we've watched your videos, and we came here today to stop you. Again, it all felt very political. Now, recently, by the way, the next day we went back out on the road armed with a 5-page legal document because we were doing all of this in a COVID secure manner. Right now, everything I'm doing right now follows the COVID protocols of any film set in this city. And so we are following the letter of the law, and that's probably why we've been able to continue. I received a letter recently from the City of London Police, and it outlined my fine, and it said I was fined for quote unquote campaigning to be mayor for London. And it said that I wasn't allowed to have my volunteers drop leaflets, and I wasn't allowed to do doorstep campaigning. And I thought to myself, well, I was doing neither one when I was walking down the street alone when you decided to fine me. So where is the violation? And again, there seems to be 2 sets of rules here. One rule if you're in the Labour Party, and one rule if you're an independent candidate. And right now they say that as an independent candidate or any party, I can't have volunteers drop off leaflets, but I can pay a private company to do the same thing. And let's be clear, it's a human sticking a piece of paper through a mail slot, whether it's a volunteer or a private company. But the law now says a private company can do it and volunteers can't, which means me, as an independent candidate with very little resources, now I can't campaign for mayor. Free and fair elections have been stopped because the Labor Party, with their millions of pounds of budget, can go ahead and leaflet people, which means to me there's something wrong with the democratic process, and free and fair elections are not taking place because I can't express my ideas to you. So I sat down with my team and we thought about it and we said, you know what? We're not going to put up with this. We refuse to be restricted when it comes to getting you the information so you can make a choice on May 6th. And again, you can choose whoever you want, but I want you to be having an informed decision. And so we have decided to do something that's never been done in British political history. We are now conducting the largest private leaflet drop in political history. 1 million leaflets will be hitting homes in London over the next 10 days. They will be talking about my ideas as your next mayor of London. They will outline my plans to get London back to work, to build affordable housing, to stop knife crime, and to fix our bankrupt transportation system. And we are very excited. So if you see one of these leaflets, make sure you take a picture of it. Hashtag Brian for Mayor, put it on your social accounts. And this is a statement that democracy must continue. And a lot of people have said, Brian, what's this going to cost you? And you know what? I don't think you can put a price on democracy. I just don't. I think you have to move forward, and we're making a stand here and saying, okay, you want to try to tie our hands behind our back and make us play by your rules because our ideas threaten you? Guess what? We are going to find a solution. And that's what I do every day as a businessman. I find solutions to problems, I hold people accountable, and I get things done. Something our current mayor doesn't do. So super excited to announce that leaflet drop. Hopefully that'll be coming through your mail slot. When you get it, like I said, take a picture, post it on your social media, tell your friends about it, start having these conversations with me. And the last thing I want to say before I get into some of the points today is this simple question. Sadiq Khan, when will you debate me? We've still been waiting. Weeks and weeks now, we've asked you, when will you debate me? All of our followers have gone to your social media channels and said, when will you debate Brian Rose? And like I said last time, and I'll say it again, anytime, anyhow, anywhere. We can do it right now on Zoom. You can come to London Real Studios, or you can choose the mainstream media outlet of your choice that even favors the Labour Party. That's okay. I'll show up there and we can have an open and honest debate. And then you can tell me, am I wrong that you've only delivered 12,000 houses in your 5-year term? Am I wrong that you nearly bankrupted TfL twice? Am I wrong that you just marked the 100th teenager murdered on your watch? If I'm wrong, I would love to debate you, and you can tell me if I've got those figures wrong, but we know I have them right. And that's probably why the mayor is scared to debate me, scared to acknowledge me, which I think is the ultimate sign that we are being successful. So I want to thank everybody here. And again, why not now go over to his social accounts and ask him, maybe he'll respond to you. Why won't you debate Brian Rose? And let's find out if we can get an answer. So I want to get into today's show. And again, I want to get your questions as well and your answers to the questions. So I want to drop those on you sooner. But let's talk about where we are right now, because on Monday, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, announced his roadmap out of lockdown. And it was a specific set of dates when certain things open up. Schools are opening up on March 8th. Gyms are opening up on April 12th. And on May 17th, there's more non-essential shops opening. But the problem is that this is not the solution to everything that's going on here. The reality is that the hard work starts right now. And rebuilding our broken city, our fractured economy, and we've got to really look at how we can help the sectors that are hardest hit by the pandemic. It represents some really significant challenges, and we haven't really thought about those yet, and I haven't seen a roadmap to address those. And that's got to be our priority in the upcoming months. You know, many of the sectors in the government's plan aren't even able to open for many months after this May 17th final date. And a lot of people are really frustrated. And many business leaders recently warned that, quote, we risk the near extinction of the arts and culture sector, plus the countless hospitality, leisure, retail, and tourism businesses that rely on it in one of the most culturally rich areas in the world, unquote. These business leaders say the roadmap is not enough. And let's look at the statistics. Footfall has dropped by 92%. 92%. Weekly traffic in the West End stations is 95% lower than lockdown. And I can confirm these numbers. How do I know? Because I've been in these boroughs every single day and I can see there's no one there. I'm on the tube every single morning. I had an entire carriage to myself. I'll post the picture on Instagram. There's no one coming to this city, and it's going to devastate us unless we have a proactive mayor that can get us back to work. Now, the chief executive of the Heart of London Business Alliance, that's Ross Morgan, said that the government was guilty of quote unquote willful ignorance over the problems facing businesses in the borough. And of course, the date has also been met with dismay from the museums that aren't going to be allowed to open. Again, a major cultural draw to this city, and it brings a lot of tourists from within the country and outside the country as well. Bernard Donahue, the CEO of the Association of Leading Visitor Attractions, said that there were, quote, no compelling public health justifications for not allowing indoor attractions to open at the same time as non-essential retail. And he said, I shall be expressing my disappointment. So again, the Prime Minister's roadmap is incomplete. And what have we heard from the mayor? Absolutely nothing when it comes to how London business is going to recover. I think this is absolutely unacceptable. And the reality is this. The government's announcement has come too late for many organizations, just way too late. And we need to start planning for the future, and we need to start developing solutions and innovations now to get London back to work. I have a plan to proactively make London the center of the world. I'm talking about grabbing all the market share from the major cities of Europe and channeling it into London. We get all the tourists, we get all the business, we get everything because we have been the most proactive to pull that business in. We have a choice here. It's literally a fork in the road on May 6th. You can go with a businessman who knows how to stimulate the economy, get deals done, and get people back in London, or you can go with someone who wants to raise your taxes, who uses fear as a weapon, who's done everything to devastate the economy of London for 3 more years. It's your choice. We literally have a fork in the road. You get to vote on May 6th. You can fire the current mayor of London, and you can choose someone with an independent voice that wants to take London in a new direction. So I want to hear from you. Please tell me what you think about this. I'm going to read your questions off live right now. First of all, tell me, what borough do you live in, or what city do you live in? What is your biggest challenge, and what is the question you want to ask me next? Tell me, and be honest here. How have you been financially impacted by the pandemic? Have you lost your job? Have you lost your business? And are you concerned about this incomplete roadmap for the future? Third, the mayor just announced a 10% increase in council tax during the worst recession in 300 years. Do you think it's fair to tax citizens right now? And do you think that's the solution for an economic recovery? Fourth, do you think that independent candidates like us should be banned from campaigning by the mayor of London? Do you think he should tell us that we can't leaflet, that we can't be out here in a COVID secure bus getting our message out there? And finally, do you think it's time for new leadership? Do we need new ideas, and do we need a new candidate to take London in a new direction? So I'm going to get your questions coming in now. Again, wherever platform you're on right now, first of all, like this video, share this video live to some of your friends and all of your social channels, and leave me a question. Worst case, say, hey, Brian, I support you, Brian. Anything you want to say, and I'm going to get all those questions coming in here right now. And man, it's all kicking off here on Instagram and YouTube, and I appreciate you so much. Tons of comments coming here. I got Agony DNB on Instagram that says simply, con out. And stay with me 1 second here. Just checking in some questions here from, let me just see. I've got some coming in here from Instagram as well. 1 sec, let me just see. All right, just got a little court. Let me just see. All right, here we go. Oh, boom, there we go. We got so many comments here, my iPad shut down. I got Zane DC on Instagram says, what a sick office. Thank you very much. This is actually the back of our digital battle bus, and it looks pretty plush in here, right? Kind of looks like a private jet. We love it out here, and soon we're going to be welcoming on journalists, volunteers and anybody when we can do it in a COVID secure manner. But we're really excited to be here. I got Zach Bell on Instagram says, "You're an American native. Why should we trust a non-Brit to act in our best interest?" I love these hard questions, so keep these coming. And Zach Bell, I appreciate that question. You know, if you look at London's history, it was actually built on people coming from other places. If you look about the roads that I just drove through, those were made by the Romans, right? Those crazy Italians came over here and built the roads. If you look about the Vikings when they came here, the Normans when they came here, the truth is London has been built on people coming from other countries to make this city incredible. Our current prime minister was actually born in America. Winston Churchill's mother was American. And you know what? People from different countries have always marked what's great about this city. New ideas, new energy. And, you know, as someone who was born in America, but who's lived here now for 21 years, I've actually lived here longer than I lived where I grew up in California. I've lived longer in London than any city in the world. I've been a citizen since 2007. My two sons were born in this country. And I plan on being buried in this incredible, incredible city of London. And so I look forward to contributing, and I look forward to everyone from all countries around the world coming to London to make this place your home, because I think we're stronger the more diversified we are. So great question, Zach. I appreciate you calling that. A lot of people ask me that in the streets, so I appreciate that as well. I got Running for a Cure on Instagram says, would you do another Ironman if you win? And he's referring to an Ironman race I did 3 years ago. That's where you actually, in one day, you do a swim, then you do a bike, and then you do a run. I actually did an Ironman 70.3. It took me 6 hours. It was exhausting. I trained for 90 days. I actually did it on a plant-based diet. I made a movie about it. It's called Iron Mind. You can watch it on YouTube. And it was really good because it showed me that even though I'm turning 50 this year, that I can really invest in my health. I can invest in my mental well-being. And it's why it's so important to me, the health of Londoners. And would I do another Ironman? Honestly, I got a city to run right now, so I don't think I can fit the training in. It's going to take every hour of every day to get London back on track, but I'm excited for that challenge as well. I got a question coming in from our website, which is good. And again, you can always go to brianformayor.london and leave me a question. I got Rio in the borough of Havering, which we've been to already a couple times, who says via the website, quote, "How can we be expected to vote for the Labor candidate after the disaster of the one we have now, who has raised the cost of commuting out of all proportion, making it hardly worthwhile going to work? And the ones who have been worst hit by its policies are London's poorest, who can no longer afford to travel into London either by car or public transport." So that's Rio and Havering, a really long question, but also I think a very important question. And what he's saying is, you know, the current Labor mayor, Sadiq Khan, he has raised your congestion charges and all of your transport costs to the highest levels we've ever seen. He's extended the congestion zone. He's made it now a 24/7 taxation, and it taxes the lowest income people the worst because it takes a bigger chunk out of their pay. And now people can't even afford to travel into London, which means two things. First of all, there's no business. How can businesses run without people? The second thing it means, though, there's no people spending money in London. So retail can't make money. Restaurants can't make money. The theater district can't make money. It's really the worst possible thing you can do as mayor. And again, I've been studying the current mayor for the past 6 months. Every single decision he makes is against the interests of Londoners. Every single one. And so it's no surprise that he's doing it yet again. I have a solution to fix our transportation system. I know how we can run TfL at a profit, something that the current mayor could never conceive of because he's never run a business in his life. He's a career politician who wants to use this job to get his next job in politics. Meanwhile, the 9 million citizens of London pay the price with his incompetence and his lack of action and lack of business experience. So I appreciate that question, Rio, and I hope to be coming back to see you in Havering as well. I got Mike from Enfield, and we were in Enfield just a few days ago, asks, quote, "Can you please do something drastic to put an end towards the negativity which Sadiq Khan has done across our wonderful London city, please?" And Mike, I understand how you're feeling. The issue is that the mayor of London has so much power that's not always obvious. You know, he could be the greatest ambassador for this city. He could show the world how this is the #1 destination to come. He could, if he had the ideas I have, make London the center of the world. Instead, No one wants to come to London because he's used fear as a weapon. No one even in the UK wants to come to London because they're so scared of what happens to them in this city. He's done a disservice to London, and all of his actions are borderline criminal about what he's done for the past 6 months and the past year and the past 5 years, because he's given London a bad name. He's deeply scarred our economy that could take years to recover, especially with his plan. He's failed us with our children dying on the streets because of knife crime, bankrupting transportation system, and again, he's lied to us about building affordable housing. So yes, Mike, I am going to fix that, and on May 6th, if you vote, then you can fix that too. A couple more comments coming in from YouTube and Instagram. If you're coming in late, make sure you leave me a comment. Give me a like and share this video right now to someone so they can watch us live. I got Nomad M Key on Instagram. I got the Space Queen that says Brian for Mayor. Thank you so much. I got Nomad saying the same thing, Brian for Mayor. I appreciate you. I've got Chris on Instagram saying, hello, Mr. Rose. How do you feel about being banned? You know, Chris, it's a good question. How do I feel about being banned? I would have never imagined in my wildest dreams that democracy could be interrupted in a country like Britain. I would have never imagined that the mayor of London would make a move to stop the political campaign of an independent candidate and use his police force in a coordinated effort, because I've been stopped now by City of London Police and the Metropolitan Police. I would have never believed that would be possible. So I am a bit shocked. At the same time, I've also seen the reply. We've had over 1 million people watch the video of me being stopped, detained, fined, and banned by the police, and they all support us. We've had incredible support, even with the mainstream media, that think that something is not wrong here. Again, they think the mayor's actions are criminal when it comes to stopping democracy and stopping free and fair elections. And so, while I have been shocked and surprised that I'm not allowed to campaign in a legal manner, I'm also been absolutely surprised by how much it means to people for us to fight back. And we are fighting back. We've been on this bus every single day since then. We've been here in the face of fear. I'm facing arrest, which is not something I want, but it's something I'm willing to do in order to make sure free and fair elections take place. I spent the entire year of my life last year fighting for freedom of speech. I put my business on the line. I put all of my creation on the line. I put my YouTube channel with 2 million subscribers and 250 million views on the line. By the way, that's more subscribers than most of the mainstream newspapers in this country. I put that all on the line because I believed in freedom of speech, and I'm doing the same thing this year. I'm putting everything on the line because I believe in democracy, and I believe you have the right to make a choice. That's all it is. And you cannot make that choice unless you are informed. You must know as much as possible about me as a candidate. Otherwise, you can't choose me over 3 more years of what you've got from the current mayor. And so I feel really good about where we are right now. We have a groundswell of people in London that want change. And come May 6th, I believe that we will throw a devastating knockout blow to the current mayor of London. And we're going to move into City Hall, and we are going to make London the center of the world. Just watch. This is going to happen. A couple more comments coming in here, and then I want to get on to some of my points and show you my roadmap out of here. I got Lovey on YouTube that says, Brian, you are the future of the UK. Thank you so much. You know, these ideas come from all of you as well. So I feel like we are the future, and it feels great to hear your support. I've got Starulo Nicolau on YouTube that says, hi, Brian, I live in East Sheen. I think council tax rise of 10% is unreal at this time. I object as a car driver to these random road closures. They are dangerous. We need someone like you with business experience to run London. We are living at a time when we need to think outside the box. And I appreciate you, Starulo Nicolau. And I love it when people put their real names on here, because I appreciate you, coming out and saying these things. And it's true. I mean, the council tax increase. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the mayor could even say that with a straight face. I'm shocked at these road closures. I've been and spoke with Mark in Ealing. I've seen these bollards in his neighborhood. I've seen the frustration on his face. It wasn't just Mark. It was every single person in Ealing on that street that day stopped by to voice their concerns about LTNs. This is the wrong way to run London, and yet we're going to get 3 more years of this unless we choose on May 6th to exercise our right to vote and we take London in a new direction. The only way that's going to happen is if we keep sharing these messages and tell your friends, because we're going up against a machine, which is the Labour Party. And they are trying to silence us, and they are trying to keep business as usual down at City Hall, and we don't believe that's correct. So thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate it. A couple more here. It's hard for me to not read all these because I love all this support. We've got Light and Fluffy on YouTube. What a great name. Says, those bookmakers don't change their odds, they're in trouble. That's what they said. I agree. I mean, they're going to lose a lot of money unless they put us in first soon, because I know we're going to win. We got Ray Carroll on YouTube that says, ask Sadiq Khan why our roads in this city are in a disgusting mess. It's a great question. They are in a constant mess. I take taxis every single day. I support the black taxis, and I take them every day, and they're like, look at these roads. It's so much congestion out there. It's a nightmare, and we've got to stop it. I've got Little Bear on Instagram says, the future is right here. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I got Chucko Crib on Instagram. I love these names. The dedication this man has to the cause is nuts. You have to win. Thank you. I appreciate, and we plan on winning. Anthony Francis on Instagram says, if you don't win, I will lose face in London. Yeah, I'll lose faith in London too if we don't win. We've got to. There's no other choice. We will win by any means necessary at this point. So thank you so much. I've got Limitless to the Moon on YouTube that says, hey, my soldier, much love from the west coast of Australia. Peace. Thank you very much. We've got people all around the world, and we appreciate you. I got Mo Bader on YouTube that says, Sadiq needs to go. What a miserable failure. I have lost everything, mate. It's all gone down the toilet. My shop of 25 years is gone. I couldn't pay the rent, salaries, taxes, insurance, etc. And Mo, it pains me to hear that. I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur. It's been such a struggle the past year to try to keep our businesses going, to try to make sure you make payroll so people can survive. The mayor has done absolutely nothing to support business here in London. And you know who to blame. And I feel for what you're going through. All I can say, Mo, is I've got solutions to help you kickstart your business or restart a business or create a new business. And I believe we can make London the center of the world and take us to a new level. So I appreciate everyone's comments, and keep the comments coming in. And I want to talk about currently what we're seeing out there, and then I want to show you my solution. So let's look at the devastation right now that we are trying to rebuild from. So according to data from the New West End Company, which represents businesses around Bond Street, Oxford Street, and Regent Street, sales from retail, hospitality, and leisure are on the course to bring in just £2 billion this year to March 2021. That's down from £10 billion the previous year. Just think about it. That's missing £8 billion. Imagine what that could have done for Mo. Imagine what that could have done for you. Imagine how many people that could have employed. It's just been absolutely devastated. And in retail, the foot traffic to the premier shopping district is down 59%, with about half of London's West End retail and hospitality sales coming from international tourists. So we're really feeling the squeeze by the fact that people can't get in here. 1/5 of Oxford Street, which is London's main shopping thoroughfare, they believe will be boarded up with no hope of recovery. And now 50,000 retail and hospitality jobs are lost, even by the time the latest lockdown ends. That's all according to the New West End Company. We really face some devastation. But it's not just there. It's the office workers. It's not just tourists who need to come back to the city. And city center economies rely on these office workers. And this is something I've been talking about for 6 months. I used to work in the City of London in banking. And again, I speak to people on the streets. I speak to taxi cab drivers. I know people in the hospitality industry. And they remind me that the City of London, the banking industry, it brings in 25% of the entire country's GDP. Those people not being in their offices hurts everything in this city. We've got to find ways to get them back safely to do the business they need to do. And I said this from the beginning, if it was up to me, I would be on the phone because I know how to make a business deal. And I'd be talking to the 25 CEOs of the top banking and consultancy firms that are based here in London. And I would say, what's it gonna take to get 25% of your workforce back in the office in a safe manner? What's it gonna take? Because it's gonna kickstart the economy, and I'm looking to make a deal. How can we make this happen? How can we find a way to motivate you to come back in the city? I don't know if it's a project we need to look at, maybe some type of tax incentive, but let's get these people back to kickstart the economy. Your current mayor of London, I mean, if he got hit in the head, he couldn't come up with that idea. He has no creativity or innovation when it comes to business. And that's why we need a business person at the helm if we really want to get the most out of this recovery. But it's not just offices, it's also theaters. And according to the CEO of the New West End Company, and I quoted this at the beginning, I'm going to quote it again. He said, the left to market forces alone, the West End will recover, but not for many years. and not before irreparable damages will have been done for Britain's global reputation. And that echoes a comment that was made by Instagram just moments ago. Look what the mayor has done to the reputation of this city. Nobody wants to come back here. Nobody wants to do business here. And the entrepreneurs don't trust the city to back them up with proper communication, proper regulations, and proper promotion. And to restart our city, we've got to prioritize getting our workers back and opening up London to both domestic and international tourists. And I want to finish with some thoughts on Heathrow Airport, because we're going through Hounslow, which is right next to Heathrow Airport. And if we're honest with ourselves and really look at the numbers, our communities around Britain's airports, they're being devastated, absolutely devastated. And Hounslow in West London has the terrible distinction right now of heading the national league tables for the number of furloughed and unemployed workers, happening right here in one of the 32 boroughs of London. And in Hounslow, which is right next to Heathrow, and even in Crawley near Gatwick, 40% of the workforce were being supported by the state. Just think about that. 40% of the workforce being paid for by the government. That's not sustainable at all. Now, across the country, 733,000 jobs in and connected to Britain's international and regional airports are now at risk from a prolonged downturn in the air traffic. And John Holland Kay, the CEO of Heathrow Airport, cited the expectation that the UK is, quote, on the cusp of becoming the first country in the world to safely resume international and trade at scale. And I like this point that John makes, because John implies that unless the leadership is in place, we are going to miss an incredible opportunity now to make London the center of the world. I believe we can take all the market share from Paris, Madrid, Frankfurt, all of the major countries and cities in Europe and take it for ourselves. And I want to say I appreciate all of our friends in Europe, but you know what? This is business. And I think if we open up, if we're proactive on business, if we find safe ways to get people back to work and back into theaters and back into retail, if we find innovative solutions, we can make 2021 perhaps even the best year on record for London. But we've got to have a mayor who is a business person. We've got to have a mayor who looks at London through a business, through the lens of business is what I'm trying to say. And I think Heathrow Airport is one of those hidden gems where if we get that channeled, it can power a lot of the London economy. It brings in those international and even national tourists, gets them to spend in London, and we can get our city back. So I want to hear from you. Again, I want to hear your answers. First of all, tell me, what borough do you live in? Tell me, what city do you live in? Tell me, what's the question you want to ask me and what's the biggest challenge that you face? Also, tell me, how have you been impacted financially by the pandemic? And be honest, it's been hard on all of us, but tell us your truth. I want to hear it. The next thing I want to ask you is the mayor just announced a 10% rise in council tax. 10%. That's real money for a lot of people during the worst recession in 300 years. Do you think it's fair to tax the citizens of London right now? And do you think that's the solution for an economic recovery? Be honest and tell me that. Next, do you think that independent candidates such as ourselves should be banned from campaigning by the mayor of London? Do you think he should be sending his police forces out to fine us, detain us, to threaten us, to intimidate us when we're just trying to follow the democratic process? Do you think that is in a line with free and fair elections? Leave me your comments there. And finally, do you think we need new leadership, new ideas, and do you think we need a new mayor to take London in a new direction? So I want to go to your comments now. And again, wherever you're watching this on any channel, make sure you type it in, share this video with someone, give me a like, and give me a comment. Again, ask me some hard questions. I'm serious. No other mayoral candidate in London would ever dare coming on live and asking questions. The current mayor would never do it. The current mayor of London wouldn't dare walk down a street in London because he'd probably get people yelling at him and probably a lot of angry people for his policies. I'm willing not only to do that, but I'm willing to do this live. So ask me some hard questions. This is full of some really great questions here. So we got Salim Ahmed on Instagram says, I don't think Sadiq Khan would debate you, Brian. He's afraid. I live in Manor Park, London. I'm a bit worried about this 10% increase in council tax, and I would like you to come to my borough of Newham. Salim, I appreciate you. And I agree, I don't think he's going to debate me, but I welcome that at any point in time. I appreciate you in Newham. We spent a lot of time in Newham. I went to that incredible statue of the 1966 World Cup athletes that's there. I spoke to a lot of people in Newham. I appreciate you. I'm going to be coming back there as well. And I appreciate the issues you're facing. And no, that the council tax increase is not fair and it's not acceptable. And we've got to tell the mayor that with our vote on May 6th. So thank you very much. I got Vidge on Instagram says, I cannot vote as I am an Indian, but my vote is for you, Brian. Actually, if you live in the greater London area, you can vote for the elections. And let me just be clear about this right now. If you have a national insurance number and you live in one of the 32 boroughs of London or the city of London, you can vote. So if you go to votefirst.london and you take 5 minutes of your time, I will show you exactly how to register to vote. And then pretty soon you can go to our website and you can get your postal vote sent to you and you're done. All done, we're all set, and you've locked in your vote for Brian to be the next mayor of London. So that goes for everyone. I meet a lot of people in the streets that are actually able to vote, but they don't know it. So look into this. Your vote could make the difference on May 6th. So let's make sure that happens. I got Adam, I think it's Salka on YouTube that says, good morning, Mr. Rose. Good luck today, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I got Black Maltria on Instagram says, Brian is the best man for the job. Make no mistake about that, people. Hashtag Brian for mayor. Thank you so much. I got Slipmat on Instagram that says, save our city, Brian. And I'm really going to try to do that. Going over to our website, we got some great questions coming over there. I got Sandra Dorking from Hackney that says, quote, what reason did the police say you had not complied with campaigning? This cannot be lawful. And it's a great question, Sandra. I actually had the papers from Southwark Council that had given me permission to film on that day, had given me permission to park in that parking space. And if you see that video, which has now gone viral and watched by over 1 million people, it's been covered by the BBC, the Daily Mail, all the major papers. We hand over the papers to the officers, and guess what? They're not interested in our approvals. They weren't interested in the fact that I was alone in the middle of the street speaking to a phone. I was not doorstep campaigning, and I was not volunteer leafleting, and yet they were there on a mission that day. They wanted to stop me, they wanted to intimidate me, and they wanted to ban me from campaigning. And let me just say this, and I want to say this right now. I do not blame the police. I support the police. I am a big supporter of police officers, and as the next mayor of London, I want to empower police officers. I want to better train them. I want to put more officers on the street, and I know where to get the funds to do it. And I want to help them digitize, because I think that will be a major, major force multiplier when it comes to the force here in the Metropolitan Police. So I don't have any problem with the Metropolitan Police or the City of London Police, but I have a problem when their boss asks for a coordinated attack to stop the democratic process. That's what bothers me. And I think that's what bothers you, Sandra, and I appreciate you bringing that up. Another question from our website, Michael Banks in Norfolk, just outside of London, says, quote, how can I help, Brian? I did your podcast course in 2019. Thank you very much. That's my London Real Academy. Graduated over 5,000 students. Very proud of that. And it launched me well. Great to hear, Michael. I now have a highly respected and acclaimed podcast series called Leadership Luminaries. Numbers are growing, and he says, how can I help your campaign for mayor? So first of all, Michael, I appreciate that. For those of you that don't know, for the past 10 years, I've hosted a show called London Real, where I have real, long-form, unedited conversation with some of the greatest minds in the world. It could be a championship boxer. It could be an author. It could be a member from the House of Lords. It could be an activist. It could be someone very controversial, but I give them a chance to speak. I believe in free speech, and we've been doing this for 10 years, and our videos have been watched 500 million times. So clearly we're doing something right. I also have the London Real Academy, where I've graduated over 5,000 students from 108 countries around the world. I teach them about business. That's why I know about business. I've helped thousands of students create businesses from scratch. And that's why I know I can help London recover. I've also helped people create broadcasting empires like Michael as well. So Michael, let me answer your question. How can you help the Brian for Mayor campaign? Well, in many ways you can help. First of all, you can help right now. You can share this video right now. Hit the share button on the side wherever you are and share it on your social media feeds, whatever you like to use. Maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Twitter, maybe it's YouTube. Maybe you have a WhatsApp group full of people that you trust. Maybe you have an email list. Maybe you use TikTok or Gab, or there's a lot of networks out there. But share this on your social platforms and start telling people about our campaign. Next, go to our website, brianformayor.london/share. And there's even more assets. There's pictures, there's videos, there's social media posts. Download those and post those on your networks. That would help me even more. And always use the hashtag Brian for Mayor, because I'm watching you. And a lot of times you'll see me just comment on your videos because I'm watching you all the time. So I appreciate that. The next step is to volunteer. And you might think, well, Brian, I don't have the time. I've never volunteered before. Trust me, It's so simple to do, and it's a great way to get access to me and my team and group and join an amazing group of people. I just had the volunteer call. I do it live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. London time, and you can join to be a volunteer. So go to brianformayor.london/volunteer. We have a quick form that I send out to you. I ask you to make 3 social media posts to show us that you support us. After that, I ask you a few more questions, and if you are vetted and we believe that you truly have what it takes and you really believe in our campaign, I'll bring you into my inner circle group of volunteers. And then you can come and join us in live events. You can come join me on the bus, and you can go to the Brian for Mayor inauguration party that's happening. I believe it's May 7th. It's a Friday. So after we win, we're going to have a massive inauguration party. And I can neither confirm nor deny that Kanye West could be joining us. The Rolling Stones might make an appearance. It's going to be a gala spectacle event. And you know what? Even the current mayor, he's welcome to join us, and he can have a table as well. It's going to be a great big party, and all the volunteers are going to be there as well, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're gonna celebrate a new reality for London. And so that's what you can do for us, Michael, and tell your friends about us. And you can also download and print out Brian for Mayor posters, stick them in your windows. I see some when I'm going through the boroughs of London, and it always really makes me feel engaged. So thank you, Michael. It's a great question. Just going back to Instagram and YouTube, a couple more questions before I jump back to my final part here. I got Floyd on YouTube that says, "Oh, come on, Brian. Khan's not done too bad. All his mates are now rich, LOL." Okay, Floyd. And so, look, it's a very funny comment, and I appreciate that. And again, I always like hard questions and comments. The truth is I gotta disagree with you, of course. I mean, he's done horribly. And if you look at what the mayor is campaigning on now, it's very curious. He's got 2 months to get your vote. And from what I know by my own surveys, Londoners care about 3 things. The first thing they care about is crime. They don't want to get stabbed when they walk outside their house. They don't want their children to have to arm themselves to safely get to school. That's their number one concern. The mayor hasn't said anything about crime or his record on crime. The second thing people care about is transport costs. They don't like being taxed with congestion charges, low traffic neighborhoods. They don't like their fares being raised on the tube. They don't like their transport infrastructure going bankrupt. The third thing people care about is affordable housing and their own housing costs. Let's be honest. Rent payments hurt. Mortgage payments hurt, especially during this time of recession. And yet the mayor hasn't campaigned on a single one of these issues. Why? Because his record is appalling. He has lied to us, he has failed, and his actions are basically criminal. And so it's a great comment you make, Floyd. And if it wasn't so tragic, it might be funny, but it's not, because it affects the lives of 9 million people. So I appreciate that. I got Med Buckley on here, who's one of our Inner Circle volunteers. I saw Med on the call on Wednesday. Med, thanks for being here on Instagram. He says, "We all need to spread the word." I appreciate you, Med. I got Vaughn Greathouse on YouTube that says, "Sending my energy. Brian, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that." I got Guillermo Alvarez on YouTube saying, "Wow, actually that bus seems really cool." It is really cool. And again, we're going to be driving this bus all the way around London, all the way to May 6th. We're coming back to every single one of these boroughs. I'd like to meet every single person in London if possible. And that's my plan. If not, we're going to meet virtually and digitally, and that's what's going on there. I've got Miss Meal on Instagram says, "My community, Somali, are really struggling with lockdown, and they have independent small businesses." First of all, giving a big shout out to the Somali community. I've had 3 Somali taxi cab drivers in the last few weeks, and we all get along really well. I always tell them, you know what? We're going to show the world how Somalis and Americans are going to change the world together. And we always really talk about the future. So I'm sending love out to you and people from all different countries in London. You are welcome here. And we think that you're going to help us create the greatest economic boom in British history. And so thank you so much for your support. And I understand you're struggling. I speak with people all the time. These taxi drivers that I'm talking about, they said, "Brian, you're my only fare tonight." You know, and I'm happy to spend 27 pounds with them to keep them going. But they said it's hard out here, and we've got no plan from the Prime Minister. And he said, "Don't even get me talking about the mayor." I mean, the mayor is hitting us at every single juncture, closing our roads down, making it hard to do business. And so, Miss Millie, I appreciate your comment. And again, I welcome everybody from the Somali community and everywhere else. Let me fix my mic here, and then I'll get back to this. A couple more questions before I finish off here. I got Daniel Clark Creative on Instagram. It says, "Is Brian Labor or conservative?" Great question, Daniel. I am an independent candidate. Now, how would you be expected to know that? Well, if you haven't checked what party I am, then I guess you wouldn't know. But actually, Daniel, you would know, because I speak like an independent candidate, don't I? Right? I'm here speaking my mind transparently. I believe the best idea wins. I don't care if it comes from a labor person or a conservative person. I just want solutions. Right now, I'm working behind the scenes with senior people in Transport for London, senior Metropolitan Police officers, senior people from both parties, because they say, Brian, we think you are the person that can make the change and you've got the best ideas. So actually, being an independent candidate, it helps me in many ways. Now, it doesn't help me when the Labor mayor is trying to ban me from campaigning. It doesn't help, don't get me wrong. But I actually prefer being independent because I don't have to check with a committee. I don't have to check with somebody's backroom deal. I don't have to check with some corporate sponsor. I say whatever I want to say. That's why I can answer your questions live here. No other mayor candidate would ever do what I'm doing right now. And that's how you know I'm independent. So great question, Daniel. Let me get one more question here. Michael Goulden on YouTube says, London is lucky to have you. Love and wishes for you to win from the USA. Thank you. It's Michelle Goulden. I appreciate you. And honestly, I'm lucky. I'm honored to have this job and represent you as the next mayor of London. It will be a very, very challenging job, but I believe it's something that my whole life was leading to. I spent 30 years actually in the business world. I've worked in automotive, I've worked in aerospace, I worked on Wall Street, I've worked in the city of London with some pretty tough business people there. I've worked in new media. For 10 years I've been broadcasting, I've worked in digital education, and I have the resume, I have the CV to make London the center of the world, to rebuild London and get London back to work, and I can't wait for the chance to do it. So let me tell you exactly how that's gonna happen, and I wanna go back for your final comments. There'll be one more time to leave me your comments, so start leaving me your comments below. Again, share this video right now if you can, please. Like it, and let's let the world know about what we're doing here. So let me talk about my final conclusions and my solutions here. We know that London has been hit hard by the pandemic, actually worse than other areas in the country. And a lot of that is because of the mayor and the way he's communicated or miscommunicated. Because people are frightened. They're frightened of our city, and we need to remove the fear and encourage people to come back, because here's the news. London is open for business again. And we need to show this to people in all ways. We need to kickstart this economy now, and we need a business person in charge. And if we can get this right, and listen to what I'm saying here, if we can get this right, London will become the center of the world. Just think about that. Think about that in your mind. London is now the center of the world. It's the #1 destination for everyone in the world. They think, wow, let's go to London. They've got everything open again. They've got the theaters. They've got the sporting events. They've got the culture. They've got the restaurants. They've got it together. Let's go to London this year. Let's not go to Spain. Let's not go to Africa. Let's not go to America. Let's go to London. And London is going to be the center of the world. We're also going to open our businesses up, and we're going to get all the banking business, all the media business. Everything is going to be back, and we're going to pull those strands in. Again, with the right person in charge, we could have our biggest year ever in 2021. But we could also get it wrong. And if the wrong person is in charge, we are facing one of the worst years on record. We already seen the current mayor of London wants to raise your taxes during the worst recession in 300 years. Again, I took economics at MIT. It doesn't take an MIT degree to know that you don't raise taxes when you're trying to get the economy to recover. Even Sir Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, came out and said, I don't think we should raise taxes right now. And yet, what does the mayor do? The Labour mayor increases your taxes, increases your congestion charges. He's trying to make millions of pounds with his low traffic neighborhoods in Ealing, in Enfield. I've seen them. I've talked to the people. If we get this wrong, we will see a period of austerity that will crush the economy, that will crush the citizens of this city, and it will ruin our one chance we have to rebuild this economy. We are at a fork in the road right now. On May 6th, you will decide whether we go into making London the center of the world, getting London back to work, rebuilding the economy, and again, making London the center of the world. Think about that. Or we go into more taxation, more using fear as a weapon, more blame from the current mayor of London. He's always got someone to blame, doesn't he? It's always the prime minister's fault, who's curiously of the opposite party. It's always someone else's fault, right? It's the transport infrastructure's fault. It's the police's fault. It's always someone else's fault. You can have someone who blames others, or someone who takes ownership, which is what I believe in doing. It's ultimately my fault if something goes wrong in this city. and he also takes London in a new direction by promoting business. Now, how do we do this? Well, I'm going to tell you how. First of all, we cannot tax our way out of this problem. We've got to provide incentives for people coming back to this city. And that means specific sectors, including arts and leisure, hospitality, museums, all need to be supported now. And I'm not talking about handout schemes. That doesn't help anybody. I'm talking about listening to these sectors and finding ways that we can support them to generate even more income. And that's why I want to announce today an incredible policy that's going to kickstart the London economy. And like I said, I think contribute to London becoming the center of the world. And that is this: a congestion charge holiday and a business rates holiday, dropping both of those charges down to zero from May 17th till when we open up, all until the end of 2021. That means for the rest of the year, starting May 17th, we will see congestion charge down to zero, business rates down to zero. This is going to kick-start the economy. This is going to change the game. London is going to pull in all the market share from all of the cities and countries in Europe. It's going to pull in all of the tourism income. It's going to pull in all that banking income, all the income coming from media and culture. All of that is going to be pulled into London, and London is going to become the center of the world. It's going to get London back to work. It's going to kickstart our economy, and it's going to completely change the game. I actually believe this is an incredible opportunity. It actually is. And it's hard to see that when things are boarded up and we're recovering from this pandemic. But this is the chance. The one who moves first and the one who gets this right will take the lion's share. And that will be a game changer for London. But in order to do that, we have to have a business person in charge. Someone who can get on the phone and make deals with these CEOs, who can get on the phone and make things happen, who can innovate, hold people accountable, and create solutions, and not play the blame game and not point the finger at other people, but can actually get things done. That's my plan to maximize 2021. Again, congestion charge holiday, business rates holiday, and it's going to kickstart the GDP, and all of that is going to come back to us, and we're going to recharge everything, and the revenues are going to come after that. So I want to hear from you. This is your last chance to ask me questions. So even if you've been quiet till now, make sure, first of all, you like this video, share this video, and leave me a comment. Even if you're one of the shy ones out there, you know who I'm talking about, you. Leave me a comment right now, even if you say, good luck, Brian, I'm with you, Brian, I'll take that, that's fine. Share this video, but answer these 5 questions for me. First of all, what borough do you live in, or what city are you from? What's the question you want to ask me? Tell me, how have you been impacted financially by the pandemic? Be honest. Tell me, have you lost your job? Have you lost your business? Are your savings down? Tell me, be honest how you're doing. Third, the mayor has just announced a 10% increase in council rates during the biggest recession we've seen in 300 years. Do you think it's correct to tax the citizens of London when they're down? Do you think it's fair to hit somebody when they're down? And next, do you think that that's the right thing to kickstart our economy? Fourth, tell me and be honest about that. Do you think that independent candidates like me should be banned from campaigning by the mayor of London? Do you think he should be allowed to send his police forces out and discriminate and try to intimidate me from going out there and being on the road or trying to get my leaflets delivered? Do you think that's fair? And do you think that promotes free and fair elections? And finally, do you think we need new leadership, new vision, new ideas? Do you think we need to take London in a new direction? So leave me your comments now. It's the last chance. I'm going to try to get as many as possible. And I really appreciate everybody coming in here. And it's great to see these comments here. I got Yoti Kane on Instagram that says, if the current mayor is using intimidation, then he is afraid, and no, you're on the right path. And by the way, please, everybody, type in yes if you agree with Yoti. Type in yes if you think the mayor is afraid, and that's why he's using intimidation, why he refuses to acknowledge us. Tell me if you think that's a sign of fear. It's probably one of the most obvious moves I've ever seen, but I'm just curious what you think. I got Lottie Martinson on YouTube. It says, quote, I honestly feel very emotional and almost like a rabbit in the headlights at the things that are crazy sad. Shops, loved ones, pubs, all gone from Camden. And Lottie, I know how you feel. I go through Camden every single night, and I look at Camden High Street, which used to be this crazy place where culture was there and people would go and tourists were there and locals, and you got the locks, and I used to take my sons there and I used to take my daughter there. I used to always go running there by the canals. Now it's boarded up. It's dead. It's devastated. And I put that on the mayor of London. I put that on him because he's not shown any hope He's not shown a roadmap. He's not shown a solution. And he's doing nothing proactive for these people that work hard. These people that put their money and capital on the line to create these businesses. It devastates me as well, Lottie. So I appreciate you showing me that. And I see it everywhere. I mean, you're in Camden. I see that in every single borough of this city. It's hard to watch. You know, I've gone through thousands of miles of boarded up shops as I've traveled around this city. I've seen the expressions on people's faces, these blank stares of people that see no hope for the future. I've seen kids on the street because they got no schools to go to. I've got a 16-year-old daughter myself. She said, what am I going to do? You know, are my A levels going to happen? How am I going to get a job? Or am I going to be doing Zoom calls from my room until I'm an old woman? You know, these kids, they have no hope because there's no vision from our mayor. It's going to take a business person to take us to the next level. I think, Lottie, you know that. A lot of people know that. And you're going to have that choice on May 6th. Do you take a career politician or a business person to get us to the next level? It's a simple choice. On May 6th, it will be your choice, so let's make that happen. I got John Payne on Instagram that says, shout out to the mug that stays strong with the bumps. You know, we got everything locked down here. You know, we're all rattling around here, but it's important. You know, it's important for me to be on this bus and be out here with you in the streets. You know, I got asked when I was on television the other day from the RT presenter. He said, Brian, can't you do this from your home? You know, do you really have to be out here on a bus? And I said, I can't do this from home. I got to be out here. I can see people in the streets, you know. I got to go and buy Tesco right here now, and I can see what's going on with the people. There's no one going in there. There's no footfall here. There's no traffic. People might have been shown a roadmap, but I don't see anybody with hope in their eyes because they don't see anybody providing them solutions out of this lockout. So it's important for me to be here, and we'll take all the bumps and bruises that it takes to make that happen. I got Michael Sabat on YouTube that says, will you still continue London Real after you become mayor? I'm a huge fan, and I started my podcast because I was inspired by you, Michael. And just so everyone knows, London Real is my media channel that I've hosted for the past 10 years. We broadcast conversations with over 1,000 people and put it all out there for free so people can take their lives to the next level. And the truth is that London Real gets even more interesting when it starts being broadcast from City Hall. So we're going to continue broadcasting. We're going to continue doing these transparent conversations even when I'm at City Hall. And that's how we're going to make this city better, because we're all going to be part of the solution. It's not going to be one person at the top floor of some glass building that doesn't talk to anybody else. It's going to be all of us finding solutions together. So thanks, Michael. Great question. I got Felix Does Politics on Instagram says, quote, how do we enter your free merch competition? Great question. All you have to do is take a picture of the bus. So again, you got to see where it's going. You can go to our website, brianformayor.london. I think it's /bus, or the top nav bar is bus. You can see where we're going every single day. Take a picture and then put the hashtag Brian for Mayor, and we're choosing our winners out as well. We've already awarded a winner this week, and we're sending out free merch and all that stuff. So again, you know, we've had so many people see our bus, take a picture, post it, hashtag Brian for Mayor. And again, hashtag anything from us, Brian for Mayor. We want to see what you're doing. We want to see the shouts out, but that's how you can win the free swag on our competitions. A couple more here before I go. I got Tom Vickers on Instagram saying, how will you tackle knife crime in London? And Tom, it's a great question. It's a complex question, but it's one that must be addressed. Again, I find it very curious that your mayor of London, your current mayor, hasn't said one thing about knife crime as he campaigns to be your leader for the next 3 years. He hasn't addressed the fact that 100 teenagers have been murdered on his watch. The solutions for knife crime are complex, but I know what they are. And it actually has two parts. The first is we've got to support the police. We've got to put more police on the street. They have to be better trained. And they have to have more digitization, which means they can fight this crime better. But the solution doesn't only lie with the police. And I've had senior members of the police force that said, Brian, you have to do other things. You can't just police your way out of this problem. And they're right. You have to support the communities. And you've got to give these teenagers other things to do in the communities between those hours of 3:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That's when school is let out to where mom and dad comes home. When you give them something to do in those 5 hours, they can be productive members of the community. They could start businesses. They could be part of my Get London Back to Work plan. Or they could find other things to do that aren't always productive. They can get involved in gang culture or get involved in crimes and burglaries, and we need to give them solutions out of that. And that's why I have a plan to invest in the communities here in London. I want to invest in or rebuild 250 community centers throughout the 32 boroughs in London, and I'm going to do that with corporate investments. And you might say, well, Brian, how are you going to get money out of an Amazon, an Uber, a Barclays, an HSBC, a Google, or a Wellcome Trust? Well, actually, it's already been done. And our good friend Jamal Edwards, who's an MBE and the founder of SBTV, which is an incredible, hip hop, music, and fashion show he hosted on YouTube and all sorts of other social platforms that he built from nothing. Came from, a tough neighborhood and built this company up from scratch. Jamal already secured hundreds of thousands of pounds from companies like Google and the Wellcome Trust to support some of his own youth clubs in Acton, including Friary Park, and some of the ones that taught him the basics of music. So I love Jamal's model, and I look forward to working with Jamal to set up more of these at scale. And I'd like to raise 100 million pounds from the corporations here in London to build and rebuild those 250 community centers. That's 400,000 pounds each. That's enough to get the youth workers back in those centers that the current mayor of London got rid of, to refund these community centers, which the current mayor shut down. And I'm the kind of guy that can get on the phone with these corporations, and I know how to get deals done. And trust me, there's ways to get these corporations to do it. There's win-win for everybody. They get incredible branding, they support the communities get great assets and great money to take themselves to the next level. That's how we actually make a dent on knife crime. And enough talk, let's actually do something. So it's a great question. I've got official Shay Radford on YouTube that says, fix my mic one more time, we care about you, Brian, thank you very much. I got Ben on Instagram that says, I'm voting Brian 100%. That's Ben Tenbert on Instagram. Thank you so much. By the way, we're going by the Natural History Museum. Big shout out to my friends in the Natural History Museum. I just took my sons there to see the dinosaur bones. We love the dinosaur bones. We're going back there. Damon and Caden, if you're watching, and they probably are, I'm taking you back to see the dinosaur bones, I promise. We got Dylan May's Mummy on Instagram that says, we want a mayor to stick to what they say while they're campaigning, as everyone seems to go back on what they say. And I appreciate that, Dylan. When the current mayor of London campaigned in 2016, he says, I won't make Londoners pay a penny more for travel. Just think about that. The current mayor said, I won't make Londoners pay a penny more for travel. Well, let's look at the congestion charge. It's been raised and extended and increased to 24/7. Let's look at low traffic neighborhoods. That means I'm being fined for traveling in my neighborhood. He's even increased fares on the TfL. All lies from the current mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. What about housing? He promised to build 400,000 affordable homes in 5 years. He's built a total of, wait for it, 12,000 homes have been completed. 12,000 homes have been completed. Lies. And what about his promises, when it comes to crime? Look what he's done. Look at what he's done. Nightmare proportions, year on year on year increases in crime. Enough is enough. The lies, they've got to stop. We need new ideas. We need a new direction. A couple more comments here. We got Big Blue on Instagram, simply says, Brian, the people are with you. I appreciate you. And Hannah Green on YouTube says, quote, you are looking people in the eye more than many politicians dare to. You are out on the streets, not hiding away in your ivory tower. That takes guts. Thank you, Hannah Green. I appreciate it. And it actually does. I think there's a reason why no one else is out here like we are, live streaming to you, reading your comments out here, being out on the streets, in the streets, listening to your issues. I listen to people. You see me out there. I'm in the streets listening to people's problems. And I won't lie to you, it's hard. I mean, you got to really listen to people's problems. They got concerns. But this is how you know what's going on with their lives. This is how you fix people's problems. You listen. And I've said this for the past 6 months, and I'm going to say it once again. The mayor of London has 2 jobs. That's it, 2 jobs. To listen and to serve. That's it. The current mayor does neither one. He doesn't listen to you, and he sure isn't serving you right now. I'm going to change that. And that's all I'm going to do when I go to City Hall. I'm going to listen, I'm going to serve, and I'm going to go back to step 1 and do it all over again. And that's my plan. By the way, I just want to say thank you to everybody out here who has supported us, who has shared this video, who made a comment, who's tell your friends and family about our campaign. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all the high-level people in Transport for London, all of the senior members of the Metropolitan Police, all of the people, the senior officials in the housing department, senior people in government that have reached out to me, sometimes publicly, sometimes privately, to say, Brian, we can see that you care about London. We've never seen this before. We don't see this in this Labour mayor. He definitely doesn't care about London, and we think your ideas will work. We want to help you. Some of these people have volunteered the services, are working for free behind the scenes with us to show you the ideas we have about how I'm going to create 50,000 new affordable homes by Christmas this year. By Christmas this year, 50,000 new homes built and moved into. Something the mayor honestly couldn't even dream of. That's more homes built in 5 months than he has built in 5 years. We're going to make it happen. I have a solution to get 100 million pounds into community centers so we can start giving these teenagers other options than carrying knives. I have a solution on how we can give more training to the police, more police on the streets, and how we can digitize the police force. This is going to make a massive difference. And I have a solution on how we can run Transport for London at a profit, how we can remove the low traffic neighborhoods and rethink that whole scheme, and how we can drop congestion charges so we don't prohibit people from coming in the city and spending their money. I've got solutions for all of this. I'll be outlining more details in the coming weeks. But again, go to brianformayor.london. I've got 12 detailed policies. I've got more detailed policies than the current Labour mayor. I've spoke with more of the key leaders in business, in theater, in tourism, in economics in the past 6 months than the mayor of London has spoken to on my show, London Real. How can I prove it to you? Well, all of the episodes are free to watch. You can go to my website, you can go to YouTube. You can see me meeting with senior economists from Imperial College. You can see me meeting with senior members of the hospitality sector, including the founder of Yo Sushi and the founder of Pizza Express. You can see me meeting with John Graham of the Theaters Trust to talk about how we can get our theaters back on board. You can see me meeting with senior members of the big bus company and talking about tourism in this city. I'm talking with these people every week on the ground, and that's why I have the solutions that can make this work. And that's why we plan on taking London to the next level, and I want to make London the center of the world. So I'm signing off here. Again, thank you so much for your comments. If you want to be a part of this, go to brianformayor.london, share the website, get some swag while you're at it, download our videos and our pictures, put it on your social media. Start having conversations with people in person. If you really want, be a volunteer. Go to brianformayor.london/volunteer. You can literally see me live from headquarters every Wednesday night. You can be a part of this journey. You can come out on the bus with me. And again, I've had CEOs of corporations volunteer for me. I've had people, like I said, in Budapest, Bangladesh, and Brazil volunteering for me. I've got mothers, single mothers at home that are volunteering for me. I got teenagers volunteering for me. I have people of all parts of the spectrum. And they say, Brian, we see we've got a short window of opportunity. And let's be honest, after May 6th, you won't have a chance to do this again for 3 years. This is our chance to change history. This is our chance to put Britain back on the map. This is our chance to make London the center of the world. These chances only come around maybe once every 10, 20, 30 years. You know, London hasn't seen this type of devastation since World War II. We need to proactively rebuild this economy, and I think this could be a great opportunity. You know, I'm going through Knightsbridge right now. You know, all these shops are closed. Harrods is closed. All these places are devastated. They need a business person at the helm that can get London back to work, and we know we can do that. So it's been great. I love Battle Buses Live. They're always great. Fun to interact with you as well. And again, as the lockdown measures start to be eased, I'm going to be out there in your communities. I'll be at speaking events. I'll be out there really talking to you. So come to the brianformayor.london website, get on our email list, and find a way to stay in touch. Again, this will be difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. This will be difficult, but we can win this. But we're going to have to do it together. It's going to take all of your support, all of your sharing, all of your volunteer work. We've got 69 days left. Let's make this happen. So that's it. I'm signing off. Thank you so much. It's always an honor to talk with you. I appreciate your ideas. I appreciate the hard questions too. And we plan on going to City Hall on May 6th and winning. It's going to be the biggest upset in political history. We're going to make it happen. You're going to be a part of it. So let's do it. 69 days to work. Share this. Leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time on Battle Bus Live. Thank you very much.